Okay, Willie Lynch and what everyone needs to know.
Willie Lynch said if you want to control your Negroes in Ohio, if you want to control them Negroes in Cleveland, find every petty difference you can muster.
Cardinal principles for making a Negro.
Now we're against each other from the east, from the west, from the north, from the south. We're against each other in terms of color. We're against each other in terms of those who are educated and those who are not. We're against each other from those that have money and those that are not. And then those of us who get some status as a councilman, a senator, a mayor, we're just senators and mayors of the plantation. We are in the big house. We're the house niggers and the ones in the field that don't have no job. They the field niggers.
And use it against each other. He said, put the light skin in Cleveland against the dark. Put the college educated against the ones who dropped out. Put the Zetas against the Sigma Gamma Rhos and the Deltas against the AKAs and the Kappas against the Qs and the Sigmas against the Alphas and the Iotas against the Grooves. Put the Christians against the Muslims and the Garveyites against the Socialists and the Wahhabis against the Moors and the Nation of Islam against the Hebrews. And if you do this, they'll never come together.
And so we have to break this. Say, break it. Amen.
Well, a thought did come to mind. You know, military sends you through boot camp. I'm thinking possibly blacks and America in general needs a boot camp on the Willie Lynch doctrine, divisive tactics.
They have said that the Willie Lynch letter, now you understand, so everybody should have heard about the Willie Lynch letter. If you haven't, you really been sleeping life, because you should have heard something about that letter. Even Farrakhan read the letter during the Million Man March, so you should have heard something about this letter. You understand that the psychological effect of the Willie Lynch letter is what we're living today. In other words, we're living the letter today. So if you say the letter didn't exist, why are we living it? Why are we walking into it? If it doesn't exist, why are we going point by point? What y'all wrote, we actually doing it. The mindset exists.
In my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if you installed it correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take them differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. Take this simple little list of differences and think about it. On top of my list is age, but it's there only because it starts with an A. The second is color or shade. There's intelligence, size, sex.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out what is the best way to approach this topic here.
Chapter 4, the breaking process of the African woman.
God is the head of man, man the head of woman, woman the head of the child. That's the natural order. Willie Lynch said, let's reverse it. Turn the woman away from depending on the man and make her depend on us. She must find no black man to trust only us. You gotta study that woman. And if you can get her like a horse when you're breaking it to eat out of your hand, then she'll make her children and break them for us. When God created her to depend on a man, and she's saying, I don't need a man for nothing.
What we do with horses is that we break them from one form of life to another. That is, we reduce them from their natural state in nature. Whereas nature provides them with the natural capacity to take care of their offspring, we break that natural string of independence from them, and thereby create a dependency status, so that we may be able to get from them useful production for our business and pleasure.
You got all these independent girls and dependent men.
I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration.
And even if you bring a man in your house, which sometimes you do, he's in your house. Now that's deep, brother. So brothers and sisters, our homes now are torn down. Willie Lynch. Because Willie Lynch, 300 years ago, planned on turning nature around so that the woman would be the man. And we would be the dependent ones standing behind her and very afraid.
You must use the female versus the male and the male versus the female. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Let's Make a Slave is a study of the scientific process of man-breaking and slave-making. It describes the rationale and results of the Anglo-Saxons' ideas and methods of ensuring the master-slave relationship. The origin and development of a social being called the Negro.
He said, I got a foolproof idea that if you do this, the Negroes will never be able to unite for 300 to 1,000 years.
Shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands.
Cleveland, you should feel embarrassed that white folk can go to sleep at night in this city after what they did to Donyale Rice.
He said, I take my slaves and I look at their differences and I multiply them. I make their differences bigger. Turn the young against the old and the old against the young. Still going on. But he said, you put your sperm in one of the black women, she produce a brownish baby. You gotta reverse the natural tendency of the black woman to depend on the black man.
How can white America sleep so peacefully with 40 million disgruntled blacks amongst them? How can they sleep without an iota of worry of what you might do? I'll tell you how they can sleep. Because they have sown so many petty differences in Cleveland that before you ever get around to fighting them once, you gotta fight each other 1,000 times. Brothers and sisters, it's time to put the differences to the side.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Speak Up. In a moment, you're going to hear from kids who stood up to stop bullying wherever it exists. By the end of this program, we hope everyone realizes that bullying is not a rite of passage or a harmless part of growing up. It's wrong. It's destructive. And we can all prevent it. I care about this issue deeply, not just as the president, but as a dad. That's why a year ago we held the first ever White House Summit on bullying. And since then, we've partnered with schools and parents to raise awareness. But we've all got more to do. Everyone has to take action against bullying. Everyone has an obligation to make our schools and our communities safe for all our kids. And if we work together, I know we can.
And I'm pissed off. So let me tell you why I'm mad. First and foremost, I'm mad because I have so many men in my life that are amazing, beautiful, great men that are beautiful, amazing, great fathers. And they are not allowed to father their children because these bitches won't let them. Are they women? Absolutely not. They don't deserve the right to be called women. Are they girls? I don't know, because they're acting like it. But these bitches are out here prohibiting these fathers from being fathers. And this is what I believe. I read an article recently about how women have these daddy complexes. They have these daddy complexes because their father wasn't in their life. And so when their child has a relationship with the father, they're jealous because I want that. Like, you're supposed to love me like you love our child. You're supposed to love me like that. what happened to me? Why don't you love me? Or why doesn't my child love me as much as he or she loves you? Jealousy. How you gonna be jealous of your own child because your child has love? Shouldn't you be ecstatic? Shouldn't you be excited that your child has a father that's unlike the dad that you had? Shouldn't you want your child to be with their father? Shouldn't you want your child to have a relationship with their dad? You should want to, but these bitches out here, they don't get the dignified word of women. These bitches out here are prohibiting the fathers from being fathers for no reason at all except for pure jealousy that they don't get the love that the child is getting from this man. Get over it. To all of my men, to all of my fathers, to all of my brothers that are listening to this, that are wondering, like, but what can I do? This is a woman's world. I live in Massachusetts, and in Massachusetts, a man has to damn near prove his baby mama to be a crackhead before he can get custody of the child. What y'all need to do, I swear to sweet baby Jesus, I am fighting for every single last one of you. I think, like, my purpose on earth is to be a man advocate or a father advocate, because I used to be that. I used to be that woman, but I was all bark and no bite. Like, yeah, you ain't never seen your daddy. You can't go see him. Mad because he came home at 10, 11 o'clock at night, like they don't have school the next day. And then the next day they're with their daddy. I can't do it to my kids. I can't watch my kids sit there and cry out for their father and for me to say, no, you'll never see him again. I might say it, or I have said it in the past. I never followed through with it. I can't do that. I couldn't. I could never do that. No matter how much I wanted to, no matter how angry I was about the fact that he would bring them home late, that he wouldn't take the call when I'm trying to find out where they are. When your child is spending time with their father, it took me a long time for me to understand this, but when your child is spending time with their father, let them spend time with their father, because he ain't calling, blowing up your phone, trying to figure out what man, what nigga, what dude you got around his kids, but you trying to figure out what women around your kid. You need to figure out who is in your life that don't need to be around your child instead of worried about the daddy. And here comes an amazing dad now, taking care of his daughter. One of the things I want to say to these men is keep a journal. Anytime that anything happens, good happens, bad happens, the baby mama drunk, the baby mama did this, baby mama did that, your daughter, your son don't want to go home, your son, your daughter said XYZ is going on at the house, you pick up your child, the hair's not done. If Halle Berry can sit here and have the court order her baby father not to do anything to that child's hair, best believe that your journal will keep track of everything and anything that's going on in your life, so you can sit there and present the proof of this deadbeat, neglectful, ASS, BITCH. Children in the car gotta respect the babies.
So basically, after I finished up college, 2004, went back and she agreed to marry me. And I explained that there are certain things that, first off, you're going to have to seek help for your issues. She confessed that I make her crazy. And she admitted that she was selfish, So I'm just like, all right, we all have flaws. Just work on it. This marriage, for the most part, is to do right by my son. So just do right by me. I went to work, gave her all my check, asked her only, hey, take care of my student loan and send money to my kids. That's the only thing that as far as the money, everything else can go. Help take care of Trey, take care of my son, and so forth. Ended up, Katrina hit. We had a whole family come there. She had me paying all the bills like I'm, King Tut or somebody. I'm just like, no, I got priorities. And this money is for us. They're getting FEMA money, and we need to basically be thrifty with our spendage of money. So after like a year or so of marriage, she stopped paying my child support, and she stopped paying my student loans. I got a job with Casco, and was a territory manager. So I get on the road and I went out of town. So somehow, while I was out of town, she found an old video I had made, sex video of this girl in Pascagoula, and her feelings, got touched. So she started being jealous hearted and basically insecure. She's went in my van, found some condoms that I bought, some flavored condoms or whatever, got mad at me, but in our relationship, she told me if I ever cheat, just use a condom. That's what she told me. So um, it is what it is, because in certain situations, like I said, she had never denied me sex, but she denied me sex during our marriage. She got beside herself. So, okay, cool. That's what happened. I ain't gonna beg you for nothing. You're supposed to be my friend, and that basically is supposed to supersede any feelings that you have, or things that would make you upset. So after 3 years, she filed an income tax for me, and IRS contacted me. I had my own business and everything. Oh, but during the time that I was working for Casco, she left like 3 times. I would leave out on the road. Um, she called me on the road. She told me she packed up everything. She got, Hunter and Trey, and I think she got pregnant with Harley then, and she was headed to New Orleans. So like 3 different times, I had to talk her back. Come home, baby. I love my wife. I love my wife. We'll just work it out, all right? And the last time she left, it was like I had to do paperwork that I had to send in every Friday, as far as to tell them how my budget, or uh, to keep track of the money and so forth that I collected, or whatever, whatever I did, the travel expenses and so forth. She takes my printer. Doesn't take anything else, but just takes the printer. So that's just like self-sabotage, your own relationship. You're sabotaging my ability to make money for our family. So that's just childish. And that's why I used to always explain to her, I'm like, you have an immaturity about you. And for you to be 2.5 years older than me, I expect way more, maturity than what you're showing. You act like a spoiled brat, and you're just insecure. That's not my problem. I love you. I'm here. I'm married to you. Um, I don't know what else I could do. She was like, yeah, you're doing everything you're supposed to do. So I'm like, all right, cool. So, like I said, I talked her back, coming home. We had Harley under my insurance and so forth in Shreveport. And then after that, I think, we had an issue with the day my sister died. It was like April. My sister was going through cancer. So the month prior, they had conspired to buy me a ticket, sent me out to California. So my baby, me and Harley went out to California to see my sister, and it was just bad news. It didn't look good. So I was just preparing for the worst. And I explained that to her. It's like whenever I got back, she came to pick me up. I think I landed in Dallas, so she had to drive to Dallas to come and get me. And she was just nutting up. She was just like, causing problems, or just couldn't hold it together. Eventually, I had to take over driving. And I explained to her, I'm like, come on, Donyale, choose your battles. It's like everything you're fighting over any and every little small stuff. I'm not sure if your emotions, because it seemed like you have postpartum depression, with the way you and Harley fight. You fight my baby, man. You're the mama. And I catch you, that stuff is just not right. Y'all not getting along like y'all supposed to. So from there, she left, and she went to stay with a friend. The day my sister died, she lied. She called the cops, told the cops I hit her. So they locked me up for like 3 or 4 days. So happened I had money in my pocket, called a bondsman. I bonded myself out. She didn't come get me. Basically, I called her and was like, okay, I had them take me to jail so I can cool off. I can have some time to mourn and so forth. All right, I'm good. You gonna come get me? No, you deserve to be. I'm like, man, are you serious? You my wife. You know, you gonna leave me, stuck out like this? Yeah, you deserve it. You need to, whatever. I don't know. But like I said, she never came to my aid. I had to find myself out. Studied, had my own company, was working, and eventually talked to her into doing the right thing. Go before the judge because, she realized she's like, okay, they seen this mark on my face or my head or something, which ended up going away the next day. She's like, I don't know what happened. So I'm like, so okay, you don't remember that door, that shoe rack you had on the floor, on the door, that whenever you was running, that you hit, but you was scary. You talk all that noise, but you really scary. You ain't even worth it. So she was like, okay, yeah. So I was like, okay, let's make up and let's go to church. I'm gonna find us a church and let's go counseling through the pastor. So we did that. We went, my family church, actually my great aunt, Cooper. We went to Bossier, found a good pastor, good church, and started going through marriage counseling and so forth. And she started doing better. So, you know, after that, we, like I said, as far as her doing my income taxes, it came back on me. IRS closed my account. Well, they froze my account, all the funds that was in it, saying that I owed them so many thousands of dollars. And I'm like, what's going on? Then I do my homework, find out that she's been filing single head of household, which as a married couple, you can't file single head of household. You got to file married, filing jointly, married, filing separately. But obviously, that was like an ongoing scam that a lot of people do, and whenever I went to the IRS office to redo our taxes, they want to tell me that I had to talk to her and get her to agree to, marry, filing jointly, which she wouldn't agree. So I went on and filed married, filing single, and I claimed her. 2 years that we were married, she didn't work. I took care of her and her son, Trey. She want to say that I didn't, this and that, or Robert was doing such and such, but I took care of her family, my kid, and this other stuff. So, like I said, she just created a whole lot of problems for me, which I kind of figured that it was homesick. Everybody else in her family at that point had went back to New Orleans. So she was acting out because she's spoiled rotten. She first born. She used to get in the way. So, baby, I see what's going on. She had got a job, started working for this property management company that ended up having this lady die whenever she was in Kenner. So a position came available. So I suggested, hey, why don't you, take that position and go back to New Orleans? All right, baby. And she's like, okay, I'll just drive down every weekend, and see our kids, so forth. Which is the same thing I had done whenever I was working for Avondale after Katrina and stuff. I did it from Katrina on to the next year, to May of next year. I would get up every Sunday night, drive to New Orleans, go to work, drive back, Friday evening to Shreveport. And I did it for, like I said, at least 6 months. So, but it was too much for her. She couldn't do it. So, and she basically agreed that I would take care of the kids, or they would basically get their schooling in Shreveport because Hunter was in Judson, and he had one more year, and it was a school that had earned Excellence in Education Award. So instead of going to this New Orleans system schools that crashed before Katrina and had charter experimental schools, I preferred to go with a tried and proven school, So she agreed and ended up, she wanted to take Harley down, like say a week or two before the summer started, but she was going to keep him this summer. I agreed, and then whenever she came back after Hunter finished school, Trey went off to basic training. She came, and whenever she came, Harley was throwing up. So basically, she told me she was going to take Harley to the doctor. I was like, okay, cool. So I go lay down, so many hours passed, and I called her, checking on, seeing how Harley and everybody is. Come to find out, she on the road to New Orleans. She done pulled another fast one on me. I'm like, why the hell you do that when tomorrow you was gonna be able to take them, as agreed? That's some stupid shit you just pulled, because we had already agreed that you could take it for the. That's some nonsense. That's too much drama, man. You got some fucking issues, woman. So that's basically my marriage with Donyale. And at a certain point, like I said, after she just showed me she don't really care, I told her I don't want to be married to you no more. Basically, I duped you into going back to New Orleans. I'm not coming. I don't want to be with you no more. You're fucking self-destructive, self-sabotaging bitch, and you got some fucking childishness that you need to address and just grow the fuck up, So it's just a whole bunch of headaches she didn't cause, and just don't make no sense for the mother of my children that, what causes somebody that is contingent upon how well her own children do. But what I realize is this system it's a conformity. The given, the accepted norm in the world, in a sense, is mothers have first priority over fathers, which they'll understand creates a single parenting situation where the kid is not receiving the proper supervision like they would have in a two-party household, So the kids, in a sense, are not, first off, learning respect, speak when spoken to, or getting checked on certain behavior issues when it first surfaces, instead of becoming a bad habit. It's and just like I said, as far as the fatherlessness in Louisiana, the incarceration capital of the world, I look at how the prison system basically makes money off of this, and that's what the white people want to do anyway. Ever since civil rights and we got voting, they want to deny us the voting, so they want to get us in jail with a felony or something like that. And I explained to her how important my freedom is. It just means so much more than whatever you got going on, because it's contingent upon how better I can make this world for my kids, for our kids, But there's certain things, like I said, she just don't get. So immature. It's a shame.
Well, Donyale, like I said, it was like 2 years that I would come to Crescent City Communications. You knew my name and everything. As soon as you saw me, you asked me out on our first date. Then you came to my apartment and basically seduced me. I kind of was giving things a try because, for the most part, you just weren't on my level. Like I said, my first two wives, Cheryl and Tanya, were virgins. So whenever I came into the relationship with you, your stomach was all bent out of shape, and it's just, you had self-esteem issues, couldn't take pictures of you. So it just was a turnoff, everything, for the most part. And right now, all I can think of is our anniversary, and you're not wiping your ass right. And shit's all in the pictures and stuff like that you want to finally take pictures for me, but nasty. So, just looking at everything that we've been through, for the most part, it's just things that I don't want to subject myself to, because you're untrustworthy. In our marriage, basically, I told you I was marrying you to do the right thing, to be a part of my son's life and to help you raise him, instead of you trying to force me in child support and piss me off, provoke me like you do. You told me you was going to get help. You told me that you were self-centered. You told me I make you crazy. You told me that, you basically had issues that you really needed to address, and you was going to get help for them. So I believed you, and I gave you that rope to hang yourself.
for the most part, because that's basically what you did. You ran a scam on me, with the income tax, and like I said, have me pay, filing single head of household, and then you had me owing the government and stuff 3 years and stuff. Then all the times you had to take your real estate exam. I'm the one that gave you that to help you get that, And for the most part, everything, I went to work, gave you my whole check for my family. You just wasn't doing right. You weren't looking out for me. You basically living for the Joneses. And as far as Christianity, it's for God to forgive you. My thing is, I'm done with you. I can't trust you at all. I don't want you nowhere around me because there's a trust factor. You can't respect me as a person. You can't respect me as the father of your kids. Looking at Louisiana, it's incarceration capital of the world. And my freedom basically was everything I tried to express to you. Hey, I care about my freedom. I'm not gonna let anybody make me fuck myself. And for you to send me to jail the day my sister died, just low. And basically you proved to me that you're scum. You're a slut. You don't really know how to love. Whenever you told me about Robert taking your virginity, then you run back to this other boyfriend that you had and have sex with him, and then we go out to something and you tell me, oh, that was somebody you dated and stuff like that. It's not wifey type. It wasn't making me proud to have you as my wife. Like I said, I lowered my standards. Yeah, certain things I tried to do what was right, but for the most part, I just see that you're a hateful person. You have daddy issues, and those things you need to face and deal with, because it seems rampant in New Orleans. There's a mental disorder called opposition defiant, and as far as Judge Jupiter, it seems like she suffers from that. When in her minutes she states that there was no threat, no violence present for her to warrant putting a restraining order. And then she's gonna turn around and put an 18-month restraining order with supervised visitation on me. I filed, there's a judicial code of conduct that she was supposed to adhere to. She's supposed to properly mediate between both parties. She's supposed to follow the law, which my parental rights say I got parental rights, and she was also basically not to escalate prices, the cost of going to court, having me file an appeal that I paid for, got approved, and they never set the court date. That's just how dumb New Orleans really is, because it's going to come back to bite them in the ass. Done in darkness shall come to the light. And that's just all I'm going to try to do. That's all I'm trying to do for the benefit of my sons, their father's rights, their parental rights, and so forth, with all these fucked up women out here like you. I'm trying to make sure my son understands, and that's one of the reasons why I told him about Samson and Delilah. You're no good. You just, that's it's for me to be, you say, the love of your life. You didn't treat me like you loved me at all. You treat me like I was, your worst enemy, and that's the thing. I don't even have any enemies. And, I'm a good person. I did right. I never lashed out. I never did any intentional harm to you other than tell the truth, try to, basically make everything transparent to do what was right, or even to get you to do what was right in the best interest of your own children, and for you, you've undermined their possible support system. They don't know much of my family, all the different things that they could help them or could help. I wanted Hunter to be in the movies. I wanted him to learn an instrument, us be speaking Spanish or something throughout the house, and him to get with Derek and learn how to study abroad and, basically learn how to live without us around. But like I said, it's just certain things I realize. A snake, it's a snake, it's always going to bite you. That's what they do.
It's just what they do. And that's sad. Like I said, the mother of my children, I hate that I have children by you. I hate that so fucking much because you don't deserve it. You don't deserve me. You don't deserve anything that I had to offer and the things that I did and I brought to the table. You were just a fucking downfall. You were, a mistake, bottom line. And the crazy thing, my mama warned me about you. But like I said, Samson and Delilah, I was blinded. No, Mom, I'll work it out. She's gonna eventually come around. Took you to church, try to get you baptized, to do the right thing and understand that I'm not fighting you. I'm trying to help any way possible our children and their futures, And with the racism throughout America, the main problem is blacks. And one of the huge issues is single parenting and this fucked up mentality that women have where they are antagonists to the fathers of their children. That shit is unprofitable. That basically is contributing to the incarceration rate. Kids going to jail and kids dying young, not having respect. The Bible tells us, honor thy mother and thy father. And there's value in that. And that's because they learn how to survive. They learn how to not get out of their place. And that is being a child. And let adults handle adult business. But, like I said, you can't be told nothing. I can't. It's not that I can't forgive you. It's just that I can't trust you at all. I tried to reason with you, tried to get you to understand certain things, but you're just dumb. Just dumb as the fuck, and that's all it is. And I don't want to have nothing to do with you ever.